Western Conference podcast brought to you by Dos Caras Tequila, and we are here with a special edition, the Indigo episode with the legend himself, Mr. Fiji. How we doing, brother?
We're doing good.
You know, it's been a long time since Leah's been on the Western Conference podcast.
I know. You know, you had so many stars on your show.
And you were definitely one of them.
No.
Don't be modest now. See, he always starts off like this.
I was always the least guy.
Okay, you know, you got the most hits, by the way. But nonetheless, you've been busy. You've been in the studio. And we're here just to talk about this new project released on February 3rd, Indigo, South Pack Presents. And you got a plethora of special guests on the album with Sammy J, Ethu, J Boog. Just tell us about how this whole project came about.
Well, it was about 4 years in the making, and we're grateful for it coming together the way it did. Thanks to my brother Troy Gonzalez for making it happen. And, you know, it's definitely a labor of love, you know, because the Tree song that's on there.
Shout out Tree, man. She did her thing.
She smashed on it. And so did Sammy. And we had recorded together maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was a long time coming. So I really appreciate it all coming together. And
as it came together, you kind of already knew what the format was for these. Because you had 12 tracks on the album. Mm-hmm. Did you know it was going to be 12, or did you have like 14?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I cherry picked.
Yeah. Oh, you was over there cherry picking, huh? I see what you're doing over there. Yeah. But it seemed like you got the right amount of what you wanted. Like you got the Boog track, you got the thing to lead out to the album. Tell us about that track first, the Just Me and You track.
That was produced by J Vibe, and
come on, J Vibe.
I started playing with it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was grateful that Boogie got on it because you know, that's my little brother.
Come on, man, that's family right there.
So I just had to have him on the record. It was important. He's a big part of my journey. So as usual, you know, I really always want him on the track. So I really appreciate him coming through.
Well, let's just say this. Every track that has Fiji and Boog, either featuring yourself or featuring J Boog, has been a hit. I mean, not to be too modest, but you're talking about Lonely Days. We're talking about these tracks that you guys, and you working on the Hear Me Roar, that right there. Because if you guys don't trip off Hear Me Roar, you have a Fiji doing the background vocals on some of the songs. It's just, come on, it's legendary.
Yeah, I was grateful when we first started. You know, I'll tell you a funny story. When my brother Giz Fuller, when he came to me, he said, "You got to work with this guy." I was like, "Man, I'm not trying to work right now.
Yeah.
Let me just do what I'm doing." He's like, "No, you got to work with him. He's fire." I listened to him. I was like, "Oh, no, this is not my idea of working with somebody." He's like, "Come on." So finally, when I met Boog, I met him with his cousin Peter Pimp.
Man, shout out Pimp, man.
Yeah. So I said, "Hey, where you?" He goes, they said, "Well, you know, we're connected to Laie, right?" So I said, "What? Like, what's your last name?" Because, you know, in Laie, everybody knows everybody.
Come on, everybody. It's like Cheers. Everybody knows your name.
It goes a long way. He goes, "Oh, we're Afirmatas." I'm like, "What? Like Frank and Mike Afirmata?" They're like, "Yeah, that's our
So
family."
you already knew the family.
Those are my big brothers.
Yeah.
So they're like, you know, part of you know, as a Laie boy, you know, if you don't know them, then you know.
Come on, you ain't nobody if you don't know them.
You really not from Laie, you know, because people from Laie really know know every family. So I was like, wow, this is quite great, you know. So I said, be at studio Monday, 9 a.m. Don't be late.
Yeah, to see if he was serious.
And he was prompt, came through.
Punctual.
I came late as usual, but he knew what he wanted to do, and that's the beautiful thing. And that's why everything leads to this Indigo project. These are the people that I believe in, you know, that are very important to the journey, the musical journey for island music.
Yeah.
You know, they're the unsung heroes, and they're also some of the heroes. And there's more to come, you know. But I just wanted to showcase the first, you know, few artists, and then hopefully, as we continue, we'll showcase some more.
But you had a vision behind this. We talked
Yeah.
about this with Troy and when we were in the studio. And what was the vision behind the Indigo? You know, the whole theme and the genre of it.
Yeah, the theme was I believe that we need our own genre. We need to break away from the what we've been labeled as, because we do reggae, but we also do country. We also do all types of music,
Yeah.
including rock. We do backyard. Everybody just get a guitar and we all meet in the backyard, and that's a big thing. It's a big thing for us, the
Yeah.
sing-alongs and everything. So that's really what's made us. And Indigo is kind of that vehicle that would take us, to a place where if you want to find us, you can find us all here.
Yeah.
And I hope that everybody can come together and we can all be there to have this genre together. Because it's not something that I'm pushing for myself. It's really something that I want for all of us, all artists of the Pacific. We're from the largest body of water in the world,
Come on.
the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
Oceania.
Yeah.
So it's important that we come together, and the biggest story about us is that we travel the world before anyone on outrigger canoes. So, which is why I put the canoe in there, to show that we can all meet with our vows and come together with our canoes and meet together as one, because it's very hard to find island people, Pacific Island people, really come together.
Come together.
So I really hope that I know that music is one of the things that brings us together, and I really, really hope as I live and breathe that I can see that day.
But tell us about like the Indigo art. How did that whole come about? That whole vision. And
Oh,
who did
yeah.
that for you guys?
Oh man, the wonderful artist. I'm gonna get his name.
Yeah. Kanan or something.
Kanan.
Like that. Yeah.
That's right. Kanan, thank you, Kanan, for making this happen. I explained it to him over the phone.
Wait. So you just gave him your words and
Yes.
he came up with. Oh, that's big.
I painted it in words.
Yeah.
And he gave me that beautiful picture, and it was everything that I wanted, because we're all part of the volcano, right? We come from the volcanic rock, and that volcanic rock is what formed all our islands.
Yeah.
And that's what we've really, really come to really embrace about ourselves, that we're all part of this big volcano, and separated by water.
And it's crazy because the universal meaning of what you're talking about with Indigo is that we have people coming from New Zealand, Australia, Samoa, Tonga, Fiji, from all over the Pacific. But just to get this whole, I mean, whatever you could have put out anything. And I think as you being so the veteran in this, game that we're in right now.
One of.
Yeah, I mean, you're one of many, but let's go ahead and call it what it is. For you to come out so, late in your career with such a project where it's still relevant, where everyone's it's front to back. When I always say when someone comes up with a project that will give me something, it'll be like, okay, song 2, 4, and 8 is cool. The rest of it you could have did without. This one right here with 12 tracks, you're literally listening to like 1 through 12 because of what the resume already consisted of. And because of what your collaborations are with. Like you're talking about Tree, Sammy J, J Book, people that are coming up in the game as well.
Yes.
But for you to kind of just bring it all together and say, this Indigo thing is what my genre that I want to do. Like you and Troy sit in the studio. How did you handpick these songs with J Vibe being the producers? Tell me how that whole process was.
Well, it was very, very interesting, because some of it was with J Vibe, and then another one that we did was the Sons of Zion boys, and Christian. Christian was very instrumental in helping record. The one with Jay Squeezy.
Come on, Jay Squeezy. Jay Squeezy, you did your thing.
One more time.
You did your thing. That one more time.
One more time.
Come on, man.
Yeah, and that really brought out the Fijian language for me, because I believe in preserving your language, because I speak my language fluently, and I think it's important that we all learn our languages and embrace it, and embrace our culture, and embrace the psychological part of the language and what we mean when we speak our language, because that really separates us from the English language, because English is kind of a little literal for us. But the beautiful thing about our language is we have undertones. One thing could mean 4 different things. You know what I mean? And the tone you say it in.
Yeah,
the tone you say it in. You know, like, where you going?
Yeah.
That's one thing. And then, where you going?
Yeah.
You know, like, whoa.
It's all in the way you present it, right?
Yeah. Just the tone changes the meaning of what the speaker and the person that's listening, you know, like, what'd you say to me?
Yeah.
You know, so those things are very important because they kind of look deeper than just words.
Yeah.
They're coming from here.
And the way you're presenting it.
Exactly.
Also,
You can feel if somebody's taunting you or saying something in a way where you go, is this guy?
Or it's almost disrespectful.
Exactly. So, you know, and then we have where we, you know, we say curse words, you know, at each other.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just a joke.
Yeah.
And we laugh about it all the time. But when you say it in another tone, then it's like, you know, you're being disrespectful.
Yeah. It's all in the way the tone is, right?
Exactly.
So just like in anybody, when you send text messages, everything gets lost in the text because it could be taken out of context, right?
Always.
So, but we're talking about someone who's also went through Sosafina, Hey Girl, with the Tongan language and Samoan language, where you're just kind of like, everyone's like, man, Fiji speaks better than what we speak it, but just kind of correlating all that into one, where you make sure that's in your music when you do a project.
Yeah, and properly. I wanted to do each language to where I got the respect from the elders of that culture, and I hope I did. Yeah, because you know, that's important. The Tongan song was "Hey Girl," was written by my family, the Vaitulala family. They Moyaki, who is a genius musician and also a writer. Yeah, he wrote that, recorded it, and then I was like, what are you gonna do with that song, man? Let me add it.
Yeah, let me get that one. Yeah.
So thank you to my sister Stina and my brother Michael for encouraging me to make that happen.
We talk about Indigo, and we talk with the language, you know, from the Pacific Islands and all the different ways you kind of present it. How important is it for you when these younger artists ask you, you know, and maybe they wasn't raised, you know, maybe they were raised in like California and states like that. What is your advice to them when they kind of want to take on that aspect of saying, okay, is it just make sure you do it right?
Yeah, and respect, you know, respect the where that song is coming from and what it meant to the writer, to the people that sing along with it for at least 40, 50 years before me, you know. So I really am very respectful to make sure that I do a proper job, whether it's I'm doing Samoan, Tongan, or Fijian in my own mother tongue. I still am very sensitive to making sure that I'm not taking it out of context. Yeah.
Come on. Because that's important.
Yeah, there's meaning. There's meaning behind it. And I think we need to really know that meaning so that we can even embrace it more. Yeah. Because if we really do find out the deep meaning within that language, man, it's so beautiful. Yeah. It's so romantic. It's so full of love. There's passion there. And it touches our heart. So you know, that's one of the things that I helped make sure that I could preserve also in Indigo.
Yeah. Speaking of Indigo again, the $1 million question is this. You go through all the tracks. The feedback I've heard is, who is this Monique person? Who hurt you? Because Monique, you are being looked for by a lot of Polynesian women because they didn't know how bad they hurt. They said, who hurt Fiji like that? You got to tell us a story about her.
No, she didn't hurt nothing. You know, she's actually the wife of my brother, Pato Alvarez. Yeah. They're going through a lot. They went through a lot. And I did that song to confirm their love for each other.
So you were playing therapist at this point?
Yeah,
okay.
It was very important. I did the same thing for my brother Arthur with YU. Yeah. Because I believe that if you just come to terms and be human about what you're doing to each other in the process, that you can actually make time to heal.
Yeah.
But sometimes we just focus on the problem and what we don't like about each other. Like, wait a minute. At one time, you used to love each other, right?
Honeymoon stage.
So just go back to that beautiful
feeling, yeah.
reason why you were together in the first place, and try to preserve that. And if you can get over that hurdle, it'll be all right.
But is it hard to tackle, like, so in Polynesian culture, that stuff like that is taboo to talk about, right?
Yeah.
But once you start having, like, we always want everything behind closed doors. Handle everything behind closed doors. When you bring songs like Monique, when you strategically put Cold Heart in there into the mix, like, these are songs that people really don't, these are like taboo to talk about. How do you think it's better mental health wise to get these songs and kind of have these people say, it's okay to talk about it?
Yeah, it's time for us to start opening up so that we can last longer and have the relationships that our grandfathers and our mothers and fathers had. A lot of our families have been together for 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
Why can't we be that way?
Absolutely.
So let's talk about it if we need to talk about it. If I have to sing about it and that's going to help, then I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to, and I believe it's working. Anything you want. That was a personal relationship of mine. Joanna, same thing, and Sweet Darling. These are all very dear songs to me. And then I switch around and say, thank you, Mama, because, I was raised by my mom as a single mom who's now with my dad, thank God for both of them. But I'm telling you, it's like, it's very important for us to open up just so that we can understand that there's still room for forgiveness. There's still room to be together, move on, and don't be so quick to leave, especially with the attention span nowadays. We don't pay enough attention. We're looking at, guys and girls are looking at each other like
constantly.
Yeah, like how people look at Instagram. Next page, next.
And I think, the longevity of the parents that we have who were together 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
They didn't, not to say they didn't have temptation, but the temptation that's brought to us today, the Instagrams, the TikToks, and all the social media where everything's about instant gratification, right?
Right.
So you have these people where everyone's story is on Instagram. So when I talk about it with my mom all the time. She was like, "Oh yeah, me and your dad wouldn't be here if we had Instagram." Yeah. Only because there's so much temptation out there where where you kind of bring it together is where you talk about these things. You talk about getting together with that girl, staying with that girl, even if you guys messed up, coming back with that girl. I think you're one of the few artists, and I think a lot to do with your longevity that you wear your feelings on your sleeve, right?
Yeah, because honestly, I came from a world where my father wasn't there.
Yeah.
So ever since then, I've been trying to mend that broken heart. It's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need to get to understand true love.
And it goes back to that. No, I feel you, and that's what comes through your music, like this feeling that you have right now. You can see it through your music. You can see it when you're performing on stage. Like these things that people go through, that these kids go through, it hurts.
It does,
and we're not allowed to show it these days.
And a lot of kids are growing up
in the same situations.
Yeah, same situations, and they want to blame the world and everything when really it's not their fault.
Yeah.
To be in that situation. So we need to heal that situation, and we need to heal it from the ground up. You know what I mean? Those parents need to take responsibility.
Yeah.
And really heal the family.
And I think healing is through music. It's universal.
It's big, you know?
And especially when you see it through songs like we were just talking about, those songs that mean a lot to you, where something that you were putting into this music, somebody else can take from it and be like, man, I'm not the only one going through this situation.
Yeah, that's why, and that's another reason why I never did videos.
Yeah.
Because I want people to make their own videos in their mind when they listen to it. That they can see the picture. They can see, wow, man, like,
and we talked about this too.
I know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we talked about, like, I was telling Fiji, I said, how come there's not videos? Says, I can see what video I would do,
Yeah.
you know, for this song. But that you just kind of answered my own question for me, where you kind of want everybody to direct their own video of what they're getting from these songs.
I don't want to spoil everybody's imagination with my idea of the video.
Yeah, absolutely. And then,
it's important.
Yeah. And I was just, because we kept going back and forth where I felt like visuals were everything, but I think Fiji brought up a good point. He said, if they could just do a video and just have the words, the lyrics.
Yeah, the lyrics.
And you guys just come up with your own.
Or other people acting it out.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of give more of a general statement than just speaking on this so-called, oh, yeah, it was that one night I met her under the coconut tree. Come on, man.
Because once you see the visual that doesn't resonate with you, what you thought it was, now you're already going towards what the visual that you seen was.
Absolutely.
You're not making your own ending like
I like
said.
when people make their own videos in their mind or whatever or I hope one day that they can TikTok it in their own way, you know what I mean? Or Instagram it in their own way. I love that more because I think that songs they touch people in different ways,
different times.
Yeah, and they can remember where they were when they heard it, what they were going through, and I want that experience. I want because it's your song now. Once I release it, it's not mine anymore.
Come on, it's the world's.
Yeah, so I'm not singing it over again.
Yeah,
like Sweet Darling because I want to sing it. I'm singing it because that's the song you came to hear.
I mean, if you guys don't know, we're talking about Sweet Darling, we're talking about Josefina, but he's been all over the spectrum where you had those songs that you can go to the room and do some, things with it one time. But that's all from experiences, right? You go from that to kind of say, look, Sweet Darling's here, but there is a time that leads up to that kind of just say, look, Sweet Darling led up to us going to the bedroom, and that's why we have this song.
Absolutely. And I think, that we need more of that. We need more of songs that have consciousness. There's a lot that's going on in our culture, and a lot of our people are losing their land. They've lost their land, and that's home to generations and generations and generations, and they just lost it over whatever, either war or economics or something, and we need to preserve that that part of our life, our culture, our land, and our language.
Yeah.
All these little things, they make up who we are, and I think the more we speak about it openly, the more people will understand. When they're talking to us, they're not just talking to a Fijian or Samoan.
Yeah.
They're talking to a person that's indigenous.
Yeah.
From his bloodline, where he comes from, his koko. He has a birthright. You know what I mean? So he comes from a lineage.
Yeah.
And it's very important. Yeah. So it's very important that everybody can carry themselves in that way. And with love, of course, not to be special, but to be honored the same way that we honor them.
Yeah.
So there'll be more respect. There'll be a lot less bigotry, and there'll be a lot less fighting and disagreeing with other people if we just understand where they come from.
Man, it's a crazy world we're living in right now, and you talking about that where the message is everything nowadays, especially through music. But Indigo, we go right back to it because we're talking about Etu. And Etu just kind of like, doing
Brilliant
his thing.
artist.
And just to hear him along with you on this project, you got to tell us about that and how that whole thing came about as well.
Yeah, he was, we were talking back and forth, and then I heard this song. I was like, he only had the first verse and the chorus, and I'm like, I love this song. He's like, and he just turned around like, you can have it, big bro. I'm like, what? Are you serious? So, all of a sudden one day we came and Troy was like, hey, let's record it.
Yeah.
And that's how it all happened. I'm grateful to Brother Etu for that.
Yeah.
Coming through. I can't wait in the future. I would like Finn to come through
Finn is one of them underrated
we're,
artists.
We're going back and forth on some writing right now
Yeah.
for Brother Norm's album. But
Come on.
I really want to collab with that brother of mine. We've done a few songs, but I can't wait to put him on another project with me.
Come on. Finn, we talk about Norm. We talk about these names. We talk about Etu. These are like, I mean, when I say Finn underrated, I talk about because, you know, they follow you, they go through what you go through. Like, everyone has their stories. Like, and talk about Norm for a little bit, because we had a chance to talk with Norm and Troy in the studio. Norm coming back after all these years, man. What's he working on?
Man, so we're doing the record right now. We're doing a beautiful album. It's so good to have him. So way back in the days, I brought him into the studio with me, and on Born and Raised. That was in 1996.
Yeah.
And we released it in 1997. The song was called Nothing Comes to Sleepers. That's Norm in the second verse.
Classic.
Yeah, so ever since then, you know, he kind of went his way and went through his little experience that he went through. And now that he went through a big accident, and I'm sure he's going to talk about it.
We're going to talk about that on the podcast coming soon.
When you come back, when you guys get together. But I want everybody to hear his story. It's so powerful. He actually lived through something where most people would have died. And all I can say is his powerful story is one to be heard. Yeah. And to really encourage people about inner strength. You know, he has some amazing inner strength.
Yeah.
And what he did on this comeback is going to be a beautiful experience with him, because, you know, he's writing again and he's so fast on it, you know, with us in studio. You know, I'm just like, man, why didn't we do this a while ago?
Right,
you know, we should have done this a long time
God's
ago.
time. It's all about God's timing, right?
Yeah, so I'm very grateful to have him back and really rekindle our brotherhood, because he's my big brother.
And how does it mean? Like, that's another question that I have for you. Like, seeing it come full circle with Norm, you know, singing back in the day, now just kind of everyone's going through what they went through, and them to come back. How does it feel to kind of just pick up where you guys left off?
Oh, it's always beautiful, because I actually used to sleep on his floor and his couch and with all his kids, you know. Like, you know, they would be looking for me all over the place. I'd be in like with them, like tell them I'm not here. But, you know, during those days, that was my trying time. Yeah. So, you know, like always, we bring the best out of each other. One thing that I love about Laye and the brothers always have a way of keeping each other strong, especially in hard times. And he made me even like realize I didn't really go through anything after I found out what happened to him.
Exactly.
So that gives me strength. You know what I mean? So, you know, it really gives me no reason to complain. And I'm really grateful for his love for music that never went away, and it's come full circle, and I can't wait for y'all to hear his brand new album.
Man, shout out Norm. Look out for that coming soon. Speaking of artists, we got to go to Sammy J. The Incomparable. We have 2 songs on the Indigo.
Incomparable.
Come on.
Sammy
When I say incomparable, you guys don't know this guy's voice is butter. But just for him to have 2 songs, like I was talking to Troy about, I was like, Sammy got 2 songs on the Indigo.
Yeah, because, you know, he's special he's very special to my heart.
Yeah,
you know?
Tell us about that.
You know, the thing with Sammy that I love is his passion. Yeah. You know, he didn't sign up to be famous. He signed up to do music. Yeah. And a lot of times, you know, people are expecting you to be a certain way. Well, he's not that guy. Yeah. You're gonna get let down if you're thinking that. He didn't come out here to be a public figure or anything, or try to be. He just loves to sing. And if you get that part and you understand, then you'll even love him more, because
he'll appreciate it more.
He is relentless when it comes to writing music, when it comes to singing, when it comes to arranging. You know, he's amazing. Like, he just keeps going and going. Yeah. He goes, I got about 20 songs if you want. I'm like, what? Just like that?
Nonchalantly, too. Yeah, right.
Like, yeah, brother, just let me know. I'm like, oh, my gosh, Sammy. So I was very very happy when he jumped on one track, and
Yeah.
then when he jumped on the other track with Mansis, my nephew Mansis Knight Jr.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful thing, and we had done that about 4.5 years ago.
Wow.
And only
on.
now it's coming out. So,
Yeah.
hallelujah. So, yeah, so we got that, and then Tiane, actually J Vibe produced that song, and then Tiane tracked us
Yeah.
over there in New Zealand, and I'm very grateful. Mosia, my brother Tiane, love you.
Yeah.
Ofatu.
Is it hard when you guys are picking songs for the album and you guys are saying, okay, we already have a Sammy track? Who has the final say to say, we can put another one on there?
Yeah, like straight up, like
Yeah.
the thing that I love about my process and my journey has always been, I don't pick it.
Yeah.
It picks me.
Come on.
And that's what's great, great about doing music is like when you just let go and just let the music guide you and let the songs come together. It comes together better than what you were thinking.
Yeah.
Because thought always blocks the process of creativity.
Yeah.
And creativity is something that flows. And thought is an enemy.
Yeah.
So
Come on.
thought is just for comprehension.
Yeah.
You need to comprehend what it is you just did. But if you bring it in the middle, then that's how people get writer's block.
Yeah.
That's thought, man. You're thinking about it. You need to hear it. You need to feel it. And if you get both those things going, you have a complete song before you know
All
it.
about the vibe.
Absolutely.
And speaking of vibe, like not J Vibe, but the vibe.
I love you, J Vibe. You my bro around. You my
Hey,
bro.
let me just tell you, I was with J Vibe in Australia, and that boy, he's like the Dr. Dre of this island culture.
Yeah.
He's doing his thing right now,
Yeah,
man.
he's such a he's been around a long time, and
Yeah.
he made it a really big point to focus on the Pacific.
Yeah.
And
He has a real love for it as well, too.
Yeah,
When I talk to him, he has a real passion for the island music.
So, long live J Vibe, I'm telling you.
Name one of your favorite songs. I know this is going to be tough for you. What's one of your favorite songs on the Indigo?
My favorite song will probably be, it'll be two.
No, I just said one, but it's cool.
You can't tell me. No, just joking. But my favorite song will probably be it's probably my favorite song is going to be the one with Etu.
Oh, man. That
That's
one right there
probably
is a
the
cold
best
song.
feel
Yeah.
of all the songs, because it's such a beautiful flow.
Man.
And the other one I like that I loved how he flowed was the one with Sammy J, which was, to me, will always be like probably one of my favorite Sammy tracks, which is with the one that produced by Mansis.
Come on.
And I really love that one because I think it's important that I want. I'm 52 now.
Yeah.
It's like them songs keep me young. So
Come on.
they keep me youthful in my thinking and in my musical ear. So I love it when they pull that out of me.
And when they do pull, it takes me back to this. When you are in the studio with Etu, and my comparison to this was you kind of listen to what they're doing and you kind of vibe of what they're doing as well. Perfect example, when Notorious B.I.G. did a song with Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Yeah.
He kind of had Bone Thugs do it, and then he kind of just, not mimicked, but kind of like went with their vibe.
Yeah, he
kind of
went-
went.
he
You
did that
see
flow.
that perfectly on the Etu song. When
Yes.
Etu's verse comes and you come in, it's like, hold up. You feel that vibe that kind of, you just, not where you kind of adapted to Etu's sound, where it was like, okay, well, watch this. Not like in a competitive way,
Yeah.
but that vibe that you
I
guys
never,
had
yeah,
there.
I never compete
Yeah.
on the song Nothing. I never compete because I believe that's part of my part in in being in a collaboration.
Yeah,
is
the creative
is
process.
to lift up both sides. I can do certain, but if they're not, no one outperforms the other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We all come with our own sound, and we all blend it together. So that's the beautiful thing about it. We just flowed.
Yeah.
And he came in here, brought the guitar,
and you notice the flow. The flow is so noticeable.
Yeah.
Because you can tell songs when you're not flowing with somebody. And, especially somebody like Troy or somebody that has an ear for music where that's just not vibing. Like, who's in the studio that's saying, yeah, that ain't it? Because there's always yes men around. I mean, Troy can attest to this too as well. There's always yes guys in the studio, right? Or is it for yourself to kind of say, yeah, I wasn't feeling
I'm my worst critic.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many songs that I go through. I've written close to 500 songs now.
Man.
And the songs that didn't even make the album is got to be in at least 100 or something, We'd be like doing it, me and Troy be doing it, and they'd be like, man, excuse me, that's hot. I'd be like,
yeah, right?
maybe in another lifetime or with another artist.
But you just said it right there. Like, do you make songs, like you said 4 years ago, that wasn't right at that time? But say 4 years later, where the song comes to fruition now, where it's going to say, now's the time to release this song. Like, you gotta have that in the can.
Well, there's two factors. One is sometimes it's not ready. The second one is I don't know if I want people to know me for that particular type of mentality.
Yeah.
Because people that know me know.
Yeah.
If I sing a song, I'm really talking about something that I'm close to.
Yeah. Now, going back to the vibe as well. Our first podcast you were on, we were talking about how you wrote this hook for Tyrese's song. Went viral all over things. So they told me to ask again, what's a song that we may not know, like the Tyrese song, that you may have had something to do with?
There's a song called Rasta Love that I wrote for Protege as a hook.
Wow.
I actually sang the original hook. And then Don Corleone was with Kimani, my brother Kimani Marley at the time, and then he's like, would you be insulted if I asked Kimani to? I was like, that's my brother, just do it, man. Like,
Rasta love.
Nobody could have done it better, so that was my intention anyway. I was literally trying to sound like a Marley, and then here comes Kimani. Thank you, Kimani.
Speaking of creative processes, you already having a greatest hits. Like, you feel the 50, right? When we released 50, you go from Born and Raised 2. Is it hard to kind of say, I'm going to do a new album like Indigo? Or is it just kind of comes up because you have that vibe and feeling in you?
No, it's challenging. I love the challenge. I think that's what keeps me going. Yeah. My passion. I've been sick for a minute. I've been going in and out of hospitals the last couple years. And I went to Fiji to heal. Yeah. And I'm back, but one of the things that keeps me going is always knowing that there's always another song that I could dwell off of, that could heal me, that I could sing that would make somebody else feel better or heal from it. Like, so I think that's a big thing for me, because being a kid that grew up like me, if you've been where I was born and just look around, you see exactly, you kind of get an idea. People in Fiji know where I was born, and they kind of get the idea why I'm so adamant about, preserving love and preserving, because everywhere you look, it's just, everything's broken. People they're not smiling every day,
They're suffering. They're going through it.
Yeah, but for us, we're like the poorest neighborhood.
Look, I'm going to tell y'all this. I went to Fiji for the first time in my life with Fiji. That's like going to Vegas with Elvis. But we walked around, and look, you see in the postcards, you see, in wallpapers of Fiji. I don't walk through the streets of Fiji. Let me just tell y'all, I didn't know how poor Fiji was until we walked the streets of Fiji, and it was like, it was a shell shock for us. It was definitely a culture shock, and it was like, wow, this is not all postcards and beaches.
It's
over
very
here.
humble, you know, and but you know, we were happy
Yeah.
because we didn't have nothing. So what you know what I mean? When somebody had $20, like, yo, we got $20, you know, like we got $10, you know, anything to brighten our day, you know, and that was so beautiful to experience. You know, at first you kind of look at it like, thank God I'm away from that.
Yeah.
But when you actually get away from it and you come out here to America and you actually live and you actually have to pay bills and you're like, damn, thank God I came from there, you know?
Thank God you wasn't with a silver spoon in your mouth already. Yeah.
So, you know, like, don't get mad at me because I'm, you know, working so hard. If you just see where I came from, you'll know why I'm working so hard. And a lot of people, you know, that goes the same for all Pacific Islanders. You know, like we come from such a humble beginning that it's nowhere but to go but up.
Yeah.
So, you know, which is beautiful for us to feel, and not just money, but just being able to take care of your family, being able to help your family. That's very important.
Speaking of Indigo, you had the opportunity, not a lot of people get, that when you did release the album, you went back to Fiji.
Yeah.
So you just releasing a new album, Indigo, February 3rd, you in Fiji. How was the reception?
Oh, it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up, like, when I left Fiji was in the 80s. So to come back to hear your song on the radio on high rotation, because when I was there first back in the day, hey, nobody knew you. I'm like, oh, hey, it's you again.
Yeah.
Because musicians are not really looked at as doing a respectful job, like hard workers, like construction. We're artists, but they never get the proper respect. And anybody that grew up the way I did, which is a lot of island families, they don't really encourage the aspect of music. And
it's not the first thing to say, oh, you're going to be a singer when you grow up.
Like, oh, that's great. He's going to be, wow.
He's going to have all these projects.
Yeah, they talk about the other one, but you should know Jimmy. Jimmy's about to go to university. He's about to be a doctor.
Yeah, it's always the script, right? The script is be a doctor.
And nothing wrong with that, but, you know, that was what was respected and called real job, as they say. But this is a real job, folks.
Come on.
This is a real job, and we really do, you know, and I showed my family, you know, when my father first walked into Tower Records at the time, and he goes, hey, I'm looking for my son's album, and then he goes, oh, who's your son? He goes, Fiji. He goes, oh, that's the #1 selling album. This was Evolution.
Come on.
In this store.
And they used to have it, like the #1.
Right there, the top 25. And he came home and, you know, he just broke down. You know, so here's the funny part of the story. My dad, I loved forever and ever. He's always in my heart, and he's probably going to be watching. He came home that day, and every day we call a family meeting or devotion. So I'm sitting over there, like, he walks in, I'm like, man, should have left. I was like, we're going to have a family meeting. I'm like,
oh, here we
what?
go. Yeah.
My dad got this crazy bass voice, right? And he's like, I walked into Tower Records, they were like, what?
Right?
Oh, my God.
Come on.
I hope I'm not, like, so I'm like, and they said that my son had the #1 album, and like, ah! I was like quiet like this the whole time. Remember those Polly movies where you see
with
the
his
guy go like
head
this?
down,
That's how I felt, you know. And then he said, you know, I'm very proud of you. And that's one thing that I always love about my dad. He knew when to give props.
Yeah. And isn't that what it's all about? It's all about making them proud.
Yes.
Mom and dad proud, family proud, culture proud. You know
you
what I mean?
didn't waste your time on me.
Yeah.
I know it looked like, it felt like
I
was a waste of time. But my dad, from that day on, was a believer.
Yeah.
You know, because his brother was a musician, you know, but my dad's side of the family, all doctors, everybody's very well educated.
Here goes the black sheep,
Yeah,
guys. He's supposed to be
you
a
know,
singer.
I'm like, you know, I'm like a black sheep, and
Yeah.
you know, and the beautiful thing is like that everything changed.
Yeah.
You know, it's like he would come by and be like, "Where are you singing today?" Thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
You know, so
That got to be one of the best feelings.
yeah,
though,
it
right?
is.
Yeah.
It is to get the love from your father,
The approval, right?
Because my dad is, you know, he's a hard worker.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he worked his way up, joined the Air Force, and worked his way up all the way to become a captain in the Air Force,
wow.
which is very, you know, very noble. You
Yeah.
know, like I got a lot of respect for him. So, you know, my hat's off to him.
Mm-hmm. Shout out,
Dad,
Pops,
I
man.
love you, my ratu.
Indigo album is said and done. I mean, you're still making albums that like, and nothing against artists that are coming up too. You're just making albums like it's nothing. And I'm not saying it's nothing because I know it's a process. But what do you say to the artist that are sitting there that hasn't done an album in a while, and you over here coming with one of these front to back ones that are just not, maybe it be writer's block, maybe it be whatever the circumstance is. What's your advice to them?
What I would love to share with them is, if this is really for you,
Yeah.
then don't give up.
Yeah.
You know, but if you're doing it for any other reason than a true passion, if you're doing it for any other reason, if you're doing it for money, well, that's going to run out.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing it for fame, well, that's going to run out too. Because nobody stays famous. Not even the most famous person stays famous. Not even the richest artist stays rich.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, there's an old saying, you're as good as your last hit.
Come on.
And that's really the respect that I always want to keep in my heart, and to keep that motivation is, what are you going to do next?
Yeah.
How are you going to, you know, do something, you know, to outdo,
Yeah.
you know, some of the songs on the album, the last album, or how are you going to twist it? But I'll let life twist me,
Yeah.
because, you know, it's better that way, and it comes out genuine.
Yeah.
You know, and it's more of a natural process for me. So for you, if you've given up and you still have a true passion for music, and get back on and keep going, because someday, if you really have that true passion, it will show itself.
Yeah.
Either through one song or one whole album. There's nothing that can stop what's for you. You know, there's enough for everybody to succeed in their own way. There's not one way, there's not one type of voice. The world is very huge and very wide,
Mm-hmm.
that you would be surprised who's really listening to you. Some people find their audience in Africa. Some people find their audience in Jamaica. Some people find their audience in Japan, you know, or New Zealand, Australia. It's a lot bigger than whatever you thinking it should be. So don't limit yourself, and continue to strive for what you believe in, and what you're passionate about.
Yeah. And I think this right here is something that I wanted to do, and we were talking about this, is because when you do release a project and you do know the story behind the project, it kind of gives the people more of an incentive to say, okay, now I really want to go check it out. Because now it's kind of like, oh, okay, Fiji came out with a new album, that's cool. But once you see something like this, and you kind of give the backstory of what Indigo is about, you know, the process with working with J Vibe, J Book, like that, it's something that I think a lot of artists should do, because the more they can tell about the project, the more that the audience will kind of say, I want to go buy that, or I want to be a part of that.
Just listen to it
Yeah.
and you can throw it away if you don't want it, but it's coming from the heart, it's coming
Yeah.
from a good place, and it's definitely a lot of passion, and I've never given up, so let's continue.
Come on. Go get that Indigo album, not now, but right now. Available on all digital music outlets. The legend, Mr. Fiji, thank you for your time, my brother.
Boom, bang.
Come on, man. Dos Gatas Tequila, Western Conference Podcast. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.
We out.